All right, so we're diving into a classic today.
Oh, yeah.
The Ruins of Castle Greyhawk
It's a big one.
from first edition.
A classic module.
Infamous for its sprawling dungeons and all the lore that comes with it.
And perfect for bringing into your 5th edition games today.
So we've got 3 towers.
Yeah, 3 towers.
Perched on top of these huge pinnacles.
The Tower of War.
The Tower of Zagig.
Zeg, that mad archmage.
Yes, and then the Tower of Power.
And each one has its own challenges and stories.
That's awesome. Before we get going, though,
Oh, yeah.
just a reminder to everyone.
Hit that like button.
Like, subscribe,
Share.
and ring the bell.
Leave a comment below. Let us know about your experiences with the Ruins of Greyhawk.
Yeah, have you run this? Have you played in it?
And check the video description for a link to a PDF of the book,
Yes, you got to have that open.
so you can follow along.
Now let's start with the Tower of War.
Okay.
What kind of vibe are we talking about here?
So imagine a crumbling fortress. It's been through a lot of battles, right? Scars of war everywhere.
Okay.
Haunted by the echoes of Zagig's army,
You.
powerful army he had
Yeah.
back in the day.
So not exactly a welcoming committee.
No, not quite. Right off the bat, you're going to run into some dwarves at the entrance.
Okay.
They've staked their claim and they're demanding a tax.
Classic dwarves. Always with the taxes and the tolls.
1/3 of all your gold to enter.
Wow.
But they're willing to gamble.
Oh.
They have a game called The Great Risk.
How
And
about-
it's all about how their hammers land to
Wow.
determine your fate.
Interesting.
But here's a little secret. These dwarves are sitting on a secret stash of 8,500 gold pieces
Oh, really?
hidden under a trapped flagstone.
So even if our party pays up, there's still a potential side quest right there.
Absolutely. It just adds to those layers of storytelling opportunities you can find throughout this whole module.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say our heroes manage to get past the dwarves. What's next?
As you start ascending the tower, you're going to find remnants of Zagig's army. And they've been twisted and corrupted over time, by magic.
Uh-huh.
You might run into some zombie horse trainers.
Zombie horse trainers.
Yeah, with rot grubs clinging to them.
Oh, that's so gross.
Yeah, adds to the horror element.
Rock grubs are just nasty.
Yeah, and they can be dangerous in 5th edition, too.
Yeah, you don't want to forget about those things.
They can burrow into living flesh,
Uh,
cause all sorts of havoc.
so we've got greedy dwarves and flesh-burrowing grubs. Anything else we should be worried about in this tower?
Oh, just a small welcoming committee of 18 sword wraiths guarding the upper levels.
18.
Yeah.
That's a lot of sword wraiths.
Now, these aren't your average undead.
Okay.
Each one is incredibly powerful,
Right.
and they have the ability to control lesser undead.
Oh, wow.
So imagine them riding out at night
Mm.
on a spectral war wagon,
Oh, yeah.
leading an army of skeletons to
Uh-huh.
reclaim stolen artifacts.
That's epic.
Yeah.
That gives me an idea. What if instead of just guarding the tower, these sword wraiths are bound to it?
Okay.
They can't leave.
Interesting.
And maybe they're searching for a way to break free, and our heroes just stumble right into the middle of it all.
I like it. That's good.
Right? So maybe they offer the party a deal.
Okay.
Help us break this curse, and we'll share the secrets of Zagig's lost treasure.
Oh, that creates a good moral dilemma for the players.
Right.
And ties into the larger lore of Greyhawk.
Now, I know these sword wraiths were pretty tough in first edition. How would you adapt them to 5th edition without, completely overpowering them?
Well, you could adjust their hit points
Right.
and maybe give them some legendary actions to represent their cunning and how they think strategically.
All right.
You could also make them vulnerable to specific types of magic or weapons.
Okay.
So the players have to think outside the box.
So it's all about that balance
Yeah.
between challenge and fairness.
Exactly. And remember, you don't have to stick to the module,
Right.
Use it as inspiration for your own ideas.
Take those ideas and run with them.
Yeah, get creative.
Excellent point.
Yeah.
All right, I'm ready for the next tower. What about this Tower of Zagig?
Okay.
It's got to be full of weirdness, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's a gig.
The Mad Archmage.
And before we get into that, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and ring that bell.
Hit that notification bell.
Let us know in the comments how you would adapt these encounters for your 5th edition games.
Yeah, let's hear those stories.
And of course, you can find a PDF of the book in the video description.
Keep that book handy.
Now, the Tower of Zagig.
Yes.
It's a testament to his eccentricity and his love of all things arcane.
Okay.
Think mazes, traps, encounters that are going to challenge your 5th edition players.
All right, let's explore. What are we running into on these lower levels?
Well, on the 4th level, you're going to find a mix of classic undead creatures.
Okay.
Umber hulks, specters, and wights.
Ooh, Umber Hulks.
Yeah.
I love those things.
They're great for lower level parties.
Yeah.
And their stat blocks are really easy to find in the monster manual.
Easy to adjust.
Yeah.
Now, what about specters? How would you run those?
Specters are great for adding a little horror
Yeah.
to your game. They drain life energy.
Right.
And because they're incorporeal,
Mhm.
they're hard to hit.
Right.
And you can play up their creepy moans and whispers.
Yeah.
Create that unsettling atmosphere.
So we've got hulking monstrosities and life-draining spirits. That's already a pretty tough challenge for a low-level party.
Yeah.
What happens as we go deeper?
Things escalate quickly.
Okay.
On the 5th level, you encounter a legendary creature.
Oh.
Farkloon, the ancient red dragon.
A red dragon, now we're talking.
Yeah.
That is a serious step up in terms of challenge. What level party are we thinking to take this thing on?
Well, red dragons are powerful.
Yep.
And Farkloon is ancient.
Okay.
So he's had centuries to build up his power and cunning. I would
Wow.
say at least 10th level.
10th level.
To even stand a chance. And even then,
Yeah.
it's going to be a tough fight.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
What kind of lair does Farkloon have?
Well, the module describes it as increasingly mad mazes and traps.
Oh,
Very fitting for Zagig.
right.
You can go wild with this.
Yeah.
Add puzzles, illusions, and environmental hazards.
I love that. So it's not just about fighting a dragon. It's about surviving the entire experience.
Exactly.
You can even scatter his horror throughout the maze,
Oh, yeah.
tempting the players.
Leading them into danger.
Exactly.
And think about the kind of traps Zagig would come up with.
Oh.
Teleport pads that whisk you away to random locations.
Uh-huh.
Illusions that make dead ends look like open passages.
Oh.
Maybe even a room
Yeah.
where gravity is reversed.
Oh, I love that.
So you're walking on the ceiling.
See, this is how you take inspiration from this module and really make it your own.
Yeah. In 5th edition.
All right, so we faced down undead horrors,
Mm-hmm.
navigated a dragon's lair. What's at the top of this tower?
The final level is guarded by invisible stalkers.
Invisible stalkers.
Yeah. Silent and deadly predators. Lurking in the shadows.
Those sound like a nightmare.
They are.
How do you even run that in a 5th edition game?
Their invisibility makes them really hard to detect,
Right.
but they do leave tracks.
Okay.
You can give clues to your players, disturbed dust, strange noises,
Okay.
things like that.
And what about combat? How do you make that fair and engaging when you can't see the creature?
You could use sound effects to give players an idea of where the stalker is,
Okay.
or have them make perception checks
Right.
to pinpoint the movement.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, just because they're invisible, it doesn't mean they can't be hurt.
Right.
A well-placed area of effect spell
Okay.
could flush them out or even deal some damage.
It's a good point.
Yeah,
Give the players some options, let them feel clever
exactly.
when they figure it out.
Yeah.
And they guarding Zagig's final treasures.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of loot do we think the Mad Archmage left behind?
Well, knowing Zagig, it's not just gold and gems.
Okay.
Maybe it's a powerful artifact
Ooh.
with unpredictable effects, or a scroll with a forbidden spell.
I like that.
Yeah.
Very on brand
Yeah,
for the Mad Archmage.
exactly. And speaking of treasures,
Yes.
don't forget you can find a treasure trove of information in the video description,
That's right.
including a link to the PDF of The Ruins of Greyhawk.
Keep that book open.
And while you're down there, don't forget to like, subscribe, share,
Hit that notification bell.
and ring that bell. We love hearing your thoughts and ideas in the comments.
Yeah. What crazy encounters have you run in your 5th edition games? Let us know.
Now on to the final tower in our exploration.
Okay.
The Tower of Power.
Sounds ominous.
It does.
I bet it's packed with some serious magical firepower.
Oh, yeah.
What are we facing in this tower?
Well, this tower is all about a power dynamic.
Okay.
It's less about Zagig's personal quirks and more about this secretive group of wizards who are running things from within.
So more of a political intrigue kind of challenge.
Exactly.
Okay.
Think of it like a magical shadow war, with these wizards manipulating different factions of evil for their own purposes.
Sounds like a great opportunity for players to really flex their role-playing muscles.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe make some alliances with some unlikely characters.
Well, that's always fun.
Where do we start with this tower?
On the 4th level, we encounter a three-way war.
A three-way war.
Yeah, between factions representing lawful evil, chaotic evil, and neutral evil.
Oh, wow.
The wizards are orchestrating this whole thing.
They're playing both sides.
Yeah, providing magical items and support
Uh-huh.
to keep the chaos going.
It's like a twisted social experiment.
It is.
What kind of factions are we talking about here?
Well, the module doesn't specify,
Oh, okay.
which is great for dungeon masters
Right.
because you can customize it.
Uh-huh.
You could have a devilish cult vying for control with a band of marauding orcs,
Oh.
while a shadowy thieves guild tries to profit from the chaos.
I like that you could even tie it into existing factions in your campaign setting. Imagine the players having to navigate the Zentarum and the Cult of the Dragon.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about complex
Right.
webs of alliances.
Exactly. Adds to the world building.
For sure.
And think about the moral dilemmas.
Uh-huh.
Do they try to broker peace? Do they side with one group over another?
Mm-hmm.
Or do they just exploit the whole thing?
Right.
It's all about choices and consequences.
The best part of D&D.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got this three-way war going on. What else is lurking in this Tower of Power?
On the third level, we find a pack of were-rats,
Were-rats.
led by a vicious alpha.
Oh.
They've got this gruesome lair
Okay.
filled with stolen treasure, and they'll defend it.
Were-rats always so creepy.
Yeah.
I love the psychological horror of it. You know?
Oh, yeah.
They were once human, but now they're cursed.
That's a great point. You can really play up the body horror element in 5th edition, too. You know, focus on the transformation process.
Right.
That unsettling duality. Maybe the players find signs of the curse before they actually see the were-rats.
Ooh, like torn clothes or rat droppings?
Exactly.
Ooh.
Or you could have them leave behind messages scrawled in blood.
Why, creepy.
Yeah. Or traps that are more about psychological torment than physical harm.
It's all about that atmosphere of dread and unease.
Absolutely.
All right, so we got scheming wizards,
Yeah.
warring factions,
Yeah.
lycanthropic horrors.
It's a lot.
Anything else we should be ready for in this tower?
Well, on the first level,
Okay.
there's a basilisk guarding its lair.
A basilisk, a classic.
Yeah, and it's surrounded by petrified adventurers.
Oh, wow.
A stark reminder of its deadly gaze.
It's like a warning sign and also kind of cool dungeon decor.
It sets the tone right from the start.
Huh?
You're facing the consequences of failure.
Right. And it plays into the fear factor, too.
Yeah. If these seasoned adventurers were turned to stone, what chance do the players have?
That's a good point.
Yeah. You could even use the petrified adventurers as part of a puzzle.
Okay.
You know, maybe they have to figure out how to move the statues or use them to block the basilisk's gaze.
I like that. So it's more than just a straight fight, you know?
Yeah, incorporate the environment.
All right. So we've got were-rats.
Yeah.
We've got a basilisk.
Mm-hmm.
What else is left in this Tower of Power?
Well, on the third level,
Okay.
we encounter one of the most iconic guardians in this module.
Okay.
A diamond golem.
A diamond golem.
Protecting Zagig's most valuable treasures.
Now that is a tough opponent I remember from first edition. Practically indestructible.
Their defenses are incredibly strong.
Yeah.
Very high armor class.
Uh-huh.
But the interesting thing about this golem is its activation condition.
Okay.
It lies dormant in the darkness,
Mm-hmm.
but as soon as it's exposed to light, it animates and stays active for 100 rounds.
Wow.
Even if the light source is gone.
That's a cool mechanic.
Yeah, creates a dilemma for the players.
Right. Do they fight in the dark?
Yeah.
Or risk activating it?
Big decision.
And you can adapt that to 5th edition in so many ways.
Absolutely.
Maybe it has advantage on attack rolls in darkness,
Mm-hmm.
or it gets temporary hit points when exposed to light,
Oh, yeah. Good one.
or maybe even a special attack
Yeah.
that drains light sources.
Ooh, that's cool.
So the players have to be strategic about torches or spells.
Exactly. It's about making the encounter memorable and challenging, but not unfair,
Right.
not frustrating.
Okay, so we've explored all three towers.
We have.
The crumbling heights of the Tower of War,
Mm-hmm.
the shadowy depths of the Tower of Power.
Yep.
What's beyond the towers?
Beneath the towers, there's a grand staircase that leads down into the Underdark.
The Underdark.
Yeah, this vast and perilous subterranean realm.
Right.
This is where the module shifts
Okay.
from your traditional dungeon crawl
Uh-huh.
to an epic underworld adventure.
The Underdark, that's a whole other level of D&D awesomeness.
Is
Sounds like we're in for some serious challenges down there.
absolutely. But before we go,
Yes.
let me remind you to like, subscribe, share, and ring that bell.
Hit that notification bell.
And check out the video description for a link to the PDF of the Ruins of Greyhawk.
Keep that open.
Let us know in the comments if you've had any epic encounters in the Underdark.
Yeah, we want to hear those stories.
All right, grab your torches and get ready. We're about to explore the depths of the ruins of Castle Greyhawk.
This is going to be epic. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into one of D&D's most iconic modules.
And until next time,
Yes.
may your dice rolls be ever in your favor. So we just left the Tower of War.
Those sword wraiths were intense.
Yeah.
But let's move on to the next tower on our list. The Tower of Zagig,
Oh, yeah.
named after the Mad Archmage himself.
Oh, of course.
So I'm expecting some serious weirdness here.
Oh, you got it.
What's waiting for us on these lower levels?
So on the 4th level, you'll encounter a mix of those classic undead creatures.
Okay.
Umber Hulks,
Umber Hulks.
Specters,
Okay.
and Whites.
I love Umber Hulks.
Yeah.
Great for lower level parties.
Absolutely. Their stat blocks are easy to find in the 5th edition monster manual.
Easy to adjust.
Yeah.
What about Specters? How would you run those?
Specters are great for introducing a little horror
Yeah, for sure.
into your game.
Right.
They drain life energy.
Yeah, they do.
And their incorporeal nature makes them tough to hit.
Right.
And you can really play up those chilling moans and whispers
Oh, yeah.
to create a really unsettling atmosphere for your players.
Yeah, like creepy whispers.
Yeah.
So we've got these hulking monstrosities and life-draining spirits. That's already a pretty solid challenge for a low-level party.
Yeah.
What happens as we venture deeper into the tower?
Well, things escalate pretty quickly.
Oh, no.
On the 5th level,
Okay.
you encounter a legendary creature,
All right.
Farklun,
Forkloon.
the ancient red dragon.
A red dragon. Now we're talking.
It's a big one.
This is a serious step up in terms of challenge.
Oh, yeah.
What level do you think a party needs to be to even attempt to take on a dragon like that?
Well, red dragons are notoriously powerful,
Yeah.
and Farklun is ancient,
Uh-huh.
so he's had centuries to amass power and cunning.
Right.
I'd say a party of at least 10th level
Kent level.
would be needed to stand a chance.
Okay.
And even then, it would be a really tough fight.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
What kind of lair does Farklin have in this tower?
The module describes it as a series of increasingly mad mazes and traps.
Oh, wow.
Reflecting Zagig's chaotic nature.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you could really go wild with this, incorporating puzzles, illusions, and environmental hazards.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
It's not just about finding a dragon, it's about surviving the entire experience.
Exactly.
You could even have the dragon's horde scattered throughout the maze,
Oh, yeah.
tempting the players with treasure, but also putting them in danger.
Exactly. And think about the kinds of traps that Zagig might have devised.
Oh, yeah. Like
Would
that.
he teleport pads that whisk the players to random locations in the maze?
Oh, that'd be fun.
Or illusions that disguise dead ends as open passages.
Ooh, very tricky.
Maybe even a room where gravity is reversed.
What?
That's amazing.
So they're walking on the ceiling.
Oh my gosh.
You know, see, this is how you can take inspiration from the module and really make it your own.
Yeah, in 5th edition.
Yeah,
All right, so we've faced down the undead horrors.
we have.
We navigated this crazy dragon's lair. What's waiting for us at the very top of Zagig's tower?
The final level is guarded by invisible stalkers.
Invisible stalkers.
Silent and deadly predators that lurk in the shadows.
Oh, those sound like a nightmare to deal with.
They are.
How do you run those in a 5th edition game?
Well, their invisibility makes them really hard to detect.
Right.
But they do leave tracks.
Right.
So you could give your players opportunities to find clues to their presence.
All right, like what?
Disturbed dusts, strange noises,
Okay, I like that.
things like that.
Yeah.
And for combat?
You could use sound effects to give your players a sense of the stalker's location,
Okay.
or you could have them make perception checks to try and pinpoint its movements.
All right, so really using their senses.
Exactly. And remember, even though they're invisible,
Right.
they're not invincible.
Right, they can still be hurt.
A well-placed area of effect spell could flush them out or even deal damage.
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's all about giving the players options and letting them feel clever when they figure out how to overcome the challenge.
Exactly.
And don't forget, these invisible stalkers are guarding Zagig's final treasures.
They are.
What kind of loot do you think the Mad Archmage left behind?
Well, knowing Zagig,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be your typical golden gems.
Okay.
Maybe it's a powerful artifact with unpredictable effects.
Ooh, I like that.
Or a scroll containing a forbidden spell.
Yeah, something that's both tempting and potentially very dangerous.
Oh, yeah. Very on brand for Zagig.
Right.
And speaking of treasures, don't forget you can find a treasure trove of information in the video description.
That's right.
Including a link to the PDF of The Ruins of Greyhawk.
Keep that book handy.
And while you're down there, don't forget to like, subscribe, share.
Hit that notification bell.
And ring the bell.
We love hearing from you guys.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments what kind of crazy encounters you have run in your 5th edition games.
Yeah.
Let's hear those stories.
Now on to the final tower in our exploration.
Okay.
The Tower of Power.
Ooh. It sounds ominous.
It does.
And with a name like that, I'm betting it's packed with some serious magical firepower.
Oh, absolutely.
What kind of challenges are we facing in this tower? All right, so we braved the Tower of War, we outwitted a red dragon in the Tower of Zagig, and now we're at this imposing structure, the Tower of Power.
Yeah, it's a fitting name.
It is. What's the story with this one?
Well, this tower is all about a power dynamic.
Okay.
It's less about Zagig's personal quirks, you know, and more about this secretive group of wizards who are kind of pulling the strings from within.
So we're talking about a more political intrigue kind of challenge in this tower.
Exactly. Think of it like a magical shadow war.
Oh, wow.
With these wizards manipulating different factions of evil
Okay.
for their own mysterious purposes.
Sounds like a great opportunity for players to really use their role-playing skills.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and maybe forge some alliances with some pretty unlikely characters.
You never know who you might have to team up with.
That's right. So where should we start our exploration of this tower?
Well, on the 4th level, we encounter this 3-way war.
A 3-way war.
Yeah, raging between factions representing lawful evil, chaotic evil, and neutral evil.
Oh, wow. They're all here.
Yeah, and the wizards are orchestrating this conflict, you know?
So they're behind it all.
They're providing magical items and support to each side just to keep the chaos going.
So they're playing both sides against each other.
They are. It's kind of like this twisted social experiment.
It is. What kind of factions are we talking about here?
Well, the module doesn't specify.
Oh, okay.
Which is great for dungeon masters
Yeah.
because it gives you so much freedom to customize it.
Uh-huh.
You could have a devilish cult vying for control with a band of marauding orcs,
Okay.
while like a shadowy thieves guild is trying to profit from all the chaos.
I like that you could even tie it into existing factions in your campaign setting, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Imagine the players having to navigate, the complex web of alliances and rivalries between, like, the Zentarum and the Cult of the Dragon.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Talk about adding some depth.
Right, and think about the moral dilemmas that you can create for your players.
Yeah.
You know, do they try to broker a peace between the warring factions?
Okay.
Do they side with one group over another? Or do they just exploit the whole situation for their own gain?
So many choices and consequences.
Exactly. That's what makes D&D so great.
That's right. All right, so we've got this 3-way war going on.
Uh-huh.
What else is lurking within this Tower of Power?
Well, on the 3rd level, we encounter a pack of were-rats.
Were-rats.
Led by this particularly vicious alpha.
Oh, no.
They've established a pretty gruesome lair filled with stolen treasure.
Okay.
And they're not afraid to defend their territory.
Were-rats, they're always a creepy addition to any dungeon. I especially love the psychological horror aspect of it.
Yeah.
The idea that these creatures were once human, but they've been corrupted by this monstrous curse.
Right. You can really play up that body horror element in 5th edition, too.
Yeah.
You know, focus on the transformation process and the unsettling duality of their nature.
And maybe the players find signs of the curse,
Yeah.
before they actually encounter the were-rats themselves.
Like torn clothing, scattered rat dropping.
Ooh, that's good.
Things like that.
Or you can even have them leave behind creepy messages,
Oh, yeah.
scrawled in blood on the walls.
That's creepy.
Or set traps that are more about psychological torment than
Right.
actual physical harm.
It's all about creating that atmosphere of dread and unease.
Right. All right. So we got scheming wizards.
Yes.
We got warring factions.
Uh-huh.
And now lycanthropic horrors.
It's a lot.
Anything else we should be prepared for in this tower?
Well, on the 1st level,
Okay.
there's a basilisk guarding its lair.
A basilisk, a classic D&D monster.
Yeah, and the module describes it as being surrounded by all these petrified adventurers.
Oh, wow.
A stark reminder of its deadly gaze.
It's like a warning sign, but also a pretty cool dungeon decor.
It is. It really sets the tone for the tower.
Right from the start.
Yeah, the players are confronted with the consequences of failure.
And it plays into the fear factor, too,
Yeah.
right? If even seasoned adventurers were turned to stone by this creature,
Uh-huh.
what hope do our heroes have?
You could even use the petrified adventurers as part of a puzzle or a challenge.
Oh, okay.
Maybe the players have to figure out how to move the statues or use them to block the basilisk's gaze.
I like that. Yeah, incorporate the environment.
Exactly. Make it more than just a straight-up fight.
All right, so we've got were-rats.
We do.
We faced a basilisk. What's left on our tour of the Tower of Power?
Well, on the third level,
Yeah.
we encounter one of the most iconic guardians in the entire module.
Okay.
A diamond golem.
The diamond golem.
Tasked with protecting Zygig's most valuable treasures.
Now, that's a serious opponent. Those things are tough. I remember from first edition, they were practically indestructible.
Yeah, their defenses are incredibly strong.
Mhm.
Super high armor class makes them really difficult to hit.
Mhm.
But what's interesting about this golem is its activation condition.
Okay.
It lies dormant in the darkness,
Mm.
but once it's exposed to light, it animates and it stays active for 100 rounds.
Oh, wow.
Even if the light source is extinguished.
That's a cool mechanic.
Yeah, it creates a real dilemma for the players.
Right. Do they try to fight the golem in the dark where they're at a disadvantage?
Yeah.
Or do they risk activating it and facing its full might?
Tough choice.
It is. And you can adapt that mechanic to 5th edition in a number of ways, right? Maybe the golem has advantage on attack rolls while in darkness, or maybe it gains temporary hit points whenever it's exposed to light,
Ooh, good one.
or maybe even like a special attack
Okay.
that drains light sources.
That's cool.
So the players have to be really strategic about how they use torches or spells.
I like it.
It's all about, making it memorable, making it challenging,
Yeah.
but not unfair.
Right, not frustrating for the players.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, we've explored all 3 towers now, from the crumbling heights of the Tower of War
We have.
to the shadowy depths of the Tower of Power
Yeah.
and everything in between.
All those crazy encounters.
It's been quite a journey.
It has.
What awaits us beyond these towers?
Well, beneath the towers, a grand staircase descends into the Underdark.
Ooh, the
A
Underdark.
vast and perilous subterranean realm.
A whole other adventure.
Yeah, this is where the module takes on a very different tone, you
Whoa,
know?
okay.
It shifts from this more traditional dungeon crawl
Right.
to a truly epic underworld adventure.
The Underdark, that's a whole other level of D&D awesomeness, and it sounds like we're in for some serious challenges down there.
Oh, absolutely. But that's a story for another time.
That's right.
Before we go, though, let me remind everyone to subscribe, share, and ring that bell.
Hit that notification bell.
And be sure to check out the video description for a link to the PDF of The Ruins of Greyhawk.
Yeah, keep that open.
And let us know in the comments if you've had any epic encounters in the Underdark.
Yeah, we want to hear your stories.
Yeah.
So there you have it, folks. The Ruins of Castle Greyhawk. A classic module full of adventure
A ton of inspiration.
and endless possibilities for your 5th edition games.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Until then, keep those dice rolled.
And may your adventures be legendary.